Okay, so you're balling on a budget. You are looking for like a scent that's going to really smell high quality. It's going to last a long time, or it also is going to be a very sort of mass appealing, easy to wear fragrance, and you only have $40 to spend on it.
I let it go for about $40.
$40.
That's right. You only have $40. So what I have here today is going to be my best value fragrances that are $40 or below. And we're just going to get straight into it. So the first fragrance that I have on this list, this one is going to be from Paris Corner. And this is basically like a twist on Afternoon Swim from Louis Vuitton. And this is going to be Quatre from Paris Corner. And it's a part of their North Stag collection. Now, initially when this first came out, this was closer to like around $60, I believe. It has definitely come down in price here recently. I'll have links in the description to where you can purchase all of these fragrances. But I believe now this is down to like that sort of $30 to $40 range. And for that particular price, what you get with this, that is a very amazing price. To my nose, this definitely, it smells a little bit sweeter than what Afternoon Swim smells like. It's heavier on like the mandarin orange. But it really smells really good. And, some people may actually prefer the way that this smells over Afternoon Swim. I know I slightly do to a certain extent. But I mean, it still comes very close to the scent profile, and it actually performs a lot better than what the original does. So if you're looking for like a really good alternative Afternoon Swim, fragrance, and you only have about $40 to spend on it, I would say this is probably going to be your best choice. So definitely check out Quatre from Paris Corner. Next one is going to be from French Avenue, and this is French Avenue's take on Bulgari's Tiger, and this one is going to be Vie Ciel. So Vie Ciel, this fragrance, it is definitely a fragrance that, when you first get it, you do kind of have to give this one some time. Initially, when you get it, it's not going to be as strong in beast mode as what it'll be, if you let it sort of sit for a little while. But now that this bottle has fully matured, I don't really see any reason for me to, go out and spend a ridiculous amount of money that, Bulgari's Tiger actually cost. This one is a little bit heavier on, like that ginger note. So if you're someone who's, sensitive to ginger, then I would say you probably would want to, skip over this one. But if you're someone who actually enjoys the note of ginger and you just overall, you really love that Bulgari Tiger scent profile, with the really sort of bright, tart, grapefruit in the opening mixed with the ginger and the ambroxan and the sort of dry woodiness, this is going to be right up your alley. Now, this one, it doesn't come off as sort of dry and woody as Tiger does either. So Vie Ciel, it does come off slightly muskier, than what Tiger does. So definitely keep that in mind. But again, it has, a little bit more of sort of like a ginger zing to it. And I really, really love that about this fragrance. Also, as it stands right now, this does seem to perform better than Tiger does, both in terms of longevity and projection. Now, again, this fragrance didn't start off that way, but as you let Vie Ciel sort of sit, it will definitely become better and better in terms of its overall smell, as well as the performance. And Vie Ciel normally goes for dirt cheap. I believe this goes for anywhere from about $25 to $30 or so. So really a steal, I would say, for what you get with this one. And again, check out French Avenue's Vie Ciel. Next one on the list, this is going to be from Maison Alhambra, and this is Maison Alhambra's take on YSL's Baby Cat. And this is Ebene from Maison Alhambra. So this is a newer one that I recently got, but what I can say is, definitely if you're looking for a really cheap, under $40, but really, really accurate take on YSL's Baby Cat, then Ebene, at least in my opinion, is going to be your best bet. Now, you can still normally find Rafaqit for, in a lot of cases, a little bit cheaper than what you can get, Ebene for, especially since this fragrance just came out. But what I will say is Rafaqit is going to be for someone who doesn't really like the incense sort of part of YSL's Baby Cat. So if the incense and the pepper, if that's a little bit too strong for you in Baby Cat, and that's a turn off for you, and you more so prefer the smoother kind of vanilla aspect of Baby Cat, then the Rafaqit, that's definitely going to be the fragrance that you'll want to choose. But if you're looking for something that's really, really accurate to Baby Cat and is only a fraction of the cost, then I would say you can't go wrong with Ebene at all. Now I'm still kind of testing out like the performance on this. It still doesn't seem to have, the exact same longevity as what Baby Cat does. Baby Cat definitely seems to outlast this fragrance. But I mean, in terms of like the projection, it seems to be about the same as what you get with Baby Cat. So again, man, if you're looking for a really cheap alternative to Baby Cat that's extremely accurate, definitely check out Maison Alhambra's Ebene. Next one on the list is going to be from our Art Al Zafran, and this is basically, it's like their sort of twist on Louis Vuitton's Imagination, and this is Saheb Intense. So Saheb Intense, this fragrance, when I initially got it, I was really, really pleased with the way that this smelled. Now, it is going to be, like I said, a bit of a twist on the scent profile. In my opinion, especially in the opening, this definitely is a little bit sweeter than what, Louis Vuitton, than what the Louis Vuitton is. The Louis Vuitton is a little bit more kind of zestier and watery, or more watery than what this is. Whereas the Saheb Intense, to me, it comes off as a little bit more sweeter, and also the tea, the presence of the tea is a little bit, more amplified in the Saheb Intense. And to me, the neroli is not as amplified, or it's not, it's not really there as much as what it is in the original Louis Vuitton. So there's definitely places here and there where, this fragrance is going to be different from Louis Vuitton's Imagination. Also, to me, in the like far dry down, Imagination definitely smells like, the much higher quality fragrance than what Saheb Intense does. But I would say that this in the far dry down is more kind of like on par with a lot of the sort of Imagination, interpretations that kind of came out like around the same time. So this, I would say, is like about the same quality in the dry down as something like Chorus Blue Spice. They smell about the same in like the far dry down. This one, though, to me still has a little bit more of that sort of tea note. But if you're looking for something that it doesn't necessarily have to be 100%, accurate to Imagination, but it kind of gets you in that same ballpark for like a really cheap price, then I would definitely say Saheb Intense is, one to look at for sure. The performance on this is also pretty decent as well. Typically, I normally get like around 6 to 7 hours or so total longevity with this one, and it does project really, really nicely for about the first hour and a half or so. So, for under $40, I feel like you really can't beat that with this one. So again, check out Saheb Intense from Art Al Zafran. Next one is from Lattafa, and basically if you want instant crush from Mancera, but like at, I would say, even less than half the price, absolutely check out Afkaar from Lattafa. So this is almost identical to Instant Crush. There is like a slight sort of twist to this one. The mandarin orange that you get in the initial opening, that is going to be a little bit more prominent in the Afkaar. So it does add like a slight sort of edge to the fragrance that, Instant Crush doesn't have. And then also overall, it projects a little bit better off of my skin, or a little bit harder than what Mancera's Instant Crush does. So after that, I mean, I would say there really aren't too many differences to really note, in terms of the two fragrances. Other than, again, that performance and, the more heavier prominence on like the mandarin orange in the opening. I would say, I mean, for under $40, what you get with this fragrance, again, if you're like a huge fan of Instant Crush, but you don't necessarily want to spend, $90 to $100 on that fragrance, this is going to get you the same experience, I would say. I really don't think most people would really be able to tell the difference. There's not like a quality difference between, this and Instant Crush, at least in my opinion anyway. And again, I actually slightly prefer this. Performance wise, as far as the longevity goes, this is easily going to last you over 12 hours, and it is going to project pretty heavily for over 2 hours for sure. So absolutely, man, I definitely recommend Afkaar for anyone that's looking for a really good Instant Crush alternative. And again, this is Lattafa's Afkaar. Next on the list, this one is going to be from Dumont Paris. This is part of their Nitro line, and this is Nitro Red from Dumont. And so this is, I would say, going to be for someone who really kind of likes that, like Hawass, Invictus sort of scent profile. This is going to be like right up your alley. So this is like a really fruity, fresh, kind of aquatic watermelon style scent. That's basically what you get with this fragrance. And it is extremely strong. So this is going to, just like Hawass, this is going to be a fragrance that it's going to last you all day long. And, no matter how hot it is, it doesn't really matter. This is going to be a fragrance that's going to be on your skin 10, 12 plus hours later. Doesn't matter if, if you're sweating, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's over 100 degrees. This is going to be a fragrance that's going to last for sure. And like I said, it is kind of in that same vein as, stuff like Hawass and Invictus. So if you're into those types of fragrances, then I would say you definitely will like Nitro Red for sure. It does have a lot of versatility as well. I mean, I think this is a fragrance that, you can wear it to the gym. You can wear it just kind of casually. I would even say this would be a fragrance that you could wear on like a date in the daytime or something like that. I really don't see how this would be an offensive smell for anyone. And I mean, for this to be under $40, have the sort of mass appeal that it has and the performance that it has, I think this is definitely one of the better sort of values that you can pick up for under $40, man. So again, definitely check out Dumont's Nitro Red. Next is another one from Lattafa. This fragrance, it's made a lot of my list here recently. And this is Lattafa's The Kingdom. So The Kingdom is going to be their take on Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. Really, really close to that scent profile for sure. It's a really nice mixture of, lavender, honey, tobacco, tonka bean. Just really, really amazing, man. It's one of my favorite scents, that I've smelled in a little while here. And I mean, initially when I first sprayed this on, I didn't really, it was okay, but it was like, I don't really get the hype for this one. But this fragrance, The Kingdom, is definitely going to be a fragrance that you'll want to actually wear on skin. The experience is definitely different, when you wear this one on yourself, as opposed to just kind of smelling it on like a tester strip. I mean, at least for me anyway, I didn't really appreciate this fragrance until I actually, wore it and sprayed it on my skin. And, performance wise, this is also going to be extremely good. Again, especially for a fragrance that, is under $40. This fragrance lasts easily over 8 hours, and it is going to give you very good projection for about the first hour and a half to 2 hours or so. Quality wise, it's right about there with the original Jean Paul Gaultier. The Jean Paul Gaultier does, definitely perform a little bit better off my skin. But, again, I feel like for $30 or, $30 to $40 that you can get this for, compared to, I believe the MSRP on the Jean Paul Gaultier is like closer to 150 or so, or even more possibly. This really, really does a good job of recreating that scent profile for just a fraction of the cost. So absolutely check out Lattafa's The Kingdom. Next one on the list, this one is from Fragrance World, and this is absolutely my favorite take on YSL's Tuxedo, and this is Fragrance World Suits. So, some people are going to prefer Maison Alhambra's The Tux. I forget what that fragrance is actually called now because they had to change the name of it. But at least for me anyway, even though Suits is not going to be like 100% accurate to YSL's Tuxedo in the initial opening, as far as, the sort of pepperiness that you get from that fragrance, where it does shine is definitely the dry down. And at least for me anyway, I like the initial opening of Tuxedo a lot. I really do. But I also really love the dry down of that fragrance as well. With the, patchouli, the vanilla. I really, really love that dry down. So this, to me, Suits does a little bit better job of recreating that patchouli, that rich sort of, bourbon vanilla that you get in the dry down of Tuxedo. To me, that's where this one really shines. Whereas the Maison Alhambra, like, you can smell the patchouli in that fragrance, but it's a lot more sort of muted than what it is in Suits. Also, Suits, at least for me anyway, it lasts a little bit longer on my skin than what Maison Alhambra's The Tux does. So again, I feel like for under $40, you really can't beat Suits when it comes to like a really solid YSL Tuxedo interpretation. So definitely check out Fragrance World Suits. Next one on the list, this one is from Paris Corner, and this is a part of their Mouage series. And this is Paris Corner's Mouage Moscow Mule. So Moscow Mule, this is going to be their take on By Kilian's Blue Moon Ginger Dash. And while this one isn't like exactly the same as Blue Moon Ginger Dash, and I do slightly prefer the way the Blue Moon Ginger Dash smells. The missing cologne note in this is definitely missed, I would say, for sure. It kind of gives the fragrance like this sort of sweet, smooth, almost sort of watermelon type of smell to it. I definitely missed that in this fragrance, but I feel like this fragrance just on its own is a very, very solid, summertime freshie for sure. This is also strong enough to where you can definitely wear this one really, I would say probably spring through fall. In the summertime, this one really, really screams off of me, and it lasts like easily over 12 hours. The projection on it is also like really, really strong. Strong enough to the point where you don't necessarily want to overspray this fragrance, at least in the summertime. But again, this definitely has the strength to really be able to also push, in slightly cooler weather like the spring as well as like the early fall, I would say. But yeah, man, this is definitely one of my favorite sort of freshies that I have, like my favorite cheap freshies anyway in my collection. This fragrance, when compared to the original, it does kind of give off a slightly more like almost Dolce & Gabbana sort of light blue sort of feel to it. But it does still maintain that sort of, gingery sort of feel that the Blue Moon Ginger Dash has as well. And just overall, I would say it's probably about 80 to 85% close, to Blue Moon Ginger Dash. But This, for the price that you can get it for now, I believe you can typically get it for like around $35 for this 100 ml. That's a really, really good price for this fragrance. So definitely, again, man, check out Paris Corner's Mouage Moscow Mule. And then the last fragrance on the list, this was absolutely, I would say, probably one of my favorite pickups of last year. And this one is going to be from French Avenue, and this is French Avenue's Royal Blend. So Royal Blend is going to be, French Avenue's take on By Kilian's Angel Share. And when I say that this is like basically identical to Angel Share, it literally, I would say it literally is for the most part. The only real difference that I can, really tell between this and something like Angel Share is this one is going to be a little bit stronger in terms of the projection. But, quality wise, this smells right there with Angel Share. And I mean, just the overall sort of performance on this is really good as well. This is easily going to last over 12 hours. And it's going to give you that exact same, sort of boozy apple cinnamon aged oak barrel sort of feel that you get from something like Angel Share. Definitely going to be like a fall and winter time scent for sure, but it does smell really amazing. And at least when I picked this fragrance up, I was able to get this one from Joma Shop for $29.99. So, I mean, I don't know. I know right now this fragrance is out of stock pretty much everywhere. When it does come back into stock, I don't know how much it will be, but as long as this one is between $20 and $30, this one is absolutely worth it. I would say it's still worth it even above that price, but for $20 to $30, this is an absolute steal. So definitely check out, or I'm sorry, for $30 to $40, this is an absolute steal. So definitely check out French Avenue's Royal Blend. All right, so that is the video, man. Definitely let me know what you all thought about the list. Let me know if you all have any or all of these fragrances, and if so, do you think that these are some of the best values, under $40 that, you can pick up within this market? So definitely let me know in the comments. Again, I have links in the description to where you can actually purchase all of these fragrances. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.